All right, let's get to point 2 here. Because the Minnesota Vikings, their path to the #1 seed is alive and well. Now, it was just to win out, and it still is to win out, but they're getting some help if they don't necessarily win out with the Eagles going down in that one as they come alive late in that game. Sam Darnold, I didn't buy in for so long, but he's going out there and legitimately winning them games. That throw he had to Justin Jefferson was utterly insane at the end of that game.
Whew. I mean, pressure. And the thing that you didn't say, Mike, is that he literally just got blitzkrieg to play before. He got bit in half. He was a pretzel to play before. Face mask by Byron Murphy. Literally, his upper body was one way, his lower body was the other. He got up limping. A lot of people didn't think he was going to be able to take the next step. So to do that under duress, to run up in the pocket while getting hit, to throw it on the run off one leg on the money in a hole shot in cover 2 to Justin Jefferson, where everybody knows he's most likely getting the ball. I mean, that's big time. I think this has been a discussion with Sam Darnold for the entire year. Everybody's kind of been waiting for that other shoe to drop, but it just hasn't. I think that change happened after the Jacksonville game where he was trying to forcefully go and throw the ball to Justin Jefferson. And he had, I think, like 4 interceptions that game, which could have been like 6, and they still happened to win that game. I think him and Kevin O'Connell kind of had a coming to Jesus moment saying, you know, we have Addison, right? We're getting Hockenson back. Like, sometimes we can use Justin Jefferson as a decoy to open up the offense while he still gets his. But let's not forget, we took Jordan Addison in the first round for a reason. Let's get him the ball as well. And you've really seen the progression from Sam Darnold ever since that Jacksonville game, because he isn't just trying to force feed it to JJ. Like, when plays are there, he gets it to him, and in those big moments, that's where he's going with the football. But he's been able to spread the ball away. I mean, around. TJ Hockenson had another good game. Jordan Addison started off every game like he has the last few weeks, scoring the first touchdown for the Minnesota Vikings. So, I mean, Sam Darnold, we were talking about this again in the pregame, and me and Pete were saying, what type of deal do you think the Vikings potentially offer him? And we were saying probably like a Baker Mayfield deal where you're getting maybe 33 a year. And I doubled down. And I was like, what if a team like the Tennessee Titans offers him like 40 a year? Like, that's going to be hard for him to turn down. Now, again, I think placement means a little bit more. If the money's close, obviously you stay with Kevin O'Connell. But if you're talking about somebody offering you $10 more million a year, whether it's the Raiders or the Titans, you have to really consider that if you're Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I was thinking, I mean, up until very recently that I thought they could just let him walk or tag and trade or just let him go out the door peacefully and go on a JJ McCarthy, because that kind of bumps up your ceiling when you don't have to pay $35 million to a guy, right? Like, that's just like you have the ability to spend that on two other premium players in free agency, right? It is a $35 million deal at QB. It's 2 other starters on a roster, and you drafted JJ McCarthy, traded up for him for a reason. But I think we're at the point where it's like, why not? If this is how good you are right now, why not keep the window open and say he gets hurt and JJ McCarthy comes in and there is no drop off? It's like, you're still then a team that is 13-2, right? You're still a team that's in that kind of realm. Now, they are great in 1-score games, and that's obviously a hallmark of the coaching they have there. And maybe that will regress, and maybe a few bounces will go your way, and you won't necessarily be at this point next year, even if you may be a better team next year with Sam Darnold. But if you're in this realm of teams, in the echelon they're in, it's hard to walk away from a guy. It just is going to be damn near impossible. Kwesi is going to have some big cojones if he does. It's going to be a decision that's going to get analyzed if he does.
Because you got to think he already did it one time with Kirk Cousins, right? So people are going to be looking at him, right? You already let Kirk go, and we were competing and going to the playoffs every year with Kirk. If you do this with Sam Darnold and you get it wrong with JJ, they're going to be calling for your head, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just like, 1, what is Sam's market going to be like in free agency? And 2, does he want to stay with KOC to keep developing, right? And what does that deal look like, knowing that they took a rookie in the top 12 last year, right? And actually top 10 because they traded up in the Jets spot and the Jets moved back 1 spot. So what does that look like? I mean, what does that do with JJ McCarthy and his confidence? And I think that's a part of football, right? Your best ability is availability. And when you give somebody another opportunity and they take, full advantage of it, that's just life, right? So I'm with you. I don't know how the Vikings don't offer him at least a 2-year deal with maybe a 3rd-year option, similar to Baker Mayfield, where things don't work out after 2 years, they can get from up under it. And that way you're still on JJ McCarthy's rookie deal when he essentially kind of like the Aaron Rodgers treatment, right? And going into his 4th year, he takes over as starter. I just think you keep this rolling because the Minnesota Vikings could end up being the number 1 seed in the NFC this year.
I do wonder, and this is kind of a non sequitur, but I wonder if Darnold's play this year has any ramifications on how the 49ers treat Brock Purdy. Because we've, the best play callers in the NFL, you feel like their quarterbacks always kind of get this. Is it the quarterback or is it the play caller? With Purdy, I mean, especially, right? That's all it is. And I think we're seeing with Darnold that, not to say that it's not any of Darnold, right? It's definitely a ton of Darnold. He's turned the corner, but that a good play caller and a good offensive coach and can give you the confidence to bring the best out of you, that maybe instead of paying Brock Purdy $60 million a year, which is what he's probably going to ask for given his statistical profile, you can be a quarterback rehab center the way seemingly Minnesota has with Kevin O'Connell here, that can get more out of a guy who maybe was doing less elsewhere. It's just a thought. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the conundrum you're in right now because Sam Darnold has played to the level that he's played at. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he's voted as a Pro Bowler this year because he's earned that right by the way he's played. So that's the thing you got to ask yourself. And it's funny that you brought that up because I wanted to actually talk about that as well with Brock Purdy. It's just like we see, and I'm a big Brock Purdy fan, but we've seen when he isn't completely whole with everybody healthy on the roster, there's not many games where he elevates the roster that he currently has, right? So it's just like if you're the 49ers, we saw them elevate Jimmy G's game and get to a Super Bowl and get to multiple NFC championship games.
Can't even play other way anywhere else, right? You can't even play.
Exactly. So it's just like if you're Kyle Shanahan and you're John Lynch, again, love Brock Purdy, love what he's done. I think he's a good system fit. I don't think he's a game manager. I think he's a little bit above a game manager. But are you willing to pay him $55 million plus? Because that's what the market says he's supposed to get as a starting quarterback that has led to his team to multiple NFC championship games and a Super Bowl? Or do you decide to maybe let him walk in free agency and see what his market is out there in the open market and start this thing over, right, and rebuild the team? Because I think their window for the team that's currently constructed has officially closed.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it because they did not show up today, something we'll get to in a little bit.